Hello friends, welcome back to the bench. Thank you very much for joining me. Our patient is a 2010 Forester, part number AA361. And we have an interesting issue. So, customer states, this is for Michael. I have a 2010 Forester that slips into engine limp mode after 1 to 2 minutes. I have replaced the engine with a great running engine and a fuel pump. Catalytic converter twice. The ignition coils, all with the same exact problem. I can think of no other reason for the total loss of power. Engine starts easily and idles good, but has no acceleration whatsoever. So, our key indicator here is that it runs fine for a couple minutes and then it slips into limp mode. So both the engine is fine, it's perfectly capable of running. The ECM, well, we'll see, but it's fine running in open loop. So as long as it uses internal map, it runs fine. As soon as it switches to closed loop, it starts misbehaving, which means if I'm right about this, we're gonna have some abnormalities on one of those. Let's start with rear oxygen sensor. We want to check the signal and signal, or signal and shield. I mean shield. Shield is going to be on the ground, but signal should have it should be open in forward and diode in reverse. Then we want a front oxygen AF sensor heater, because if the heater is not working properly, we would have a code for that though, and the customer doesn't say anything about the codes, and I can't read the codes right now because they're going to be reset, right? Because the ECM was disconnected. We can check for stored codes, and maybe we'll do that. But after we check the voltage drops, we're gonna connect it and see the thermal image if anything suspicious is heating up. Then we want to check the rear oxygen sensor heater. Then we want to check the engine coolant temperature sensor. Then we want to check front oxygen AF sensor. Again, the shield is going to be grounded and we got signal positive and negative. And we want to check the airflow sensor. We also want to check the intake air temperature sensor. It shouldn't cause the limp mode, but the general idea is that if it misbehaves after a few minutes, we definitely have a problem with sensory circuits, and that can be problem with the ECM, problem with the sensors, and or problem with the harness, the actual wiring. Every time I get ECMs after engine swaps, I always recommend checking the wiring, because it's very common during engine swap. You'll pull on some wire, you crush some wire, you bend the wire too much. It happens. It's the most common problem after engine swap. And well, this is 2010, so you know, it's quite a few years, right? It's not a super old car, but those cables, as I always say, the old cables do not like being touched. So let's grab the multimeter and start poking around. So our first potential culprit. We're gonna check the throttle control as well, but if if this was a throttle control problem, the engine would not be. Actually, that can be easily confirmed with live data. You read the pedal position and the throttle position. If they deviate, we read pedal position going down, but the throttle at 0%, there's your problem. And it's most likely the throttle control, which is this chip over here, right? And it's either the chip is the problem or the control circuit is the problem, but the control circuit is essentially the MCU over here. So in either case, we're gonna have to clone it. Actually, we're cloning it either way. We're just doing the testing for science, because we have the replacement unit over here, and we're gonna clone it, and that's gonna eliminate the ECM being a culprit. But I'm curious. So, rear oxygen sensor, shield, so we got a B135, 4 and 1. B135, and we're gonna check against the ground. So, we got 0 because this is grounded, right? And 4, it's open in this direction, good. And if we reverse polarity, we should read the diode. And we have beautiful 0.6 diode. So that's not our problem. Front oxygen sensor, B136, 2 and 3. We got signal 1 and 2. We should have diodes on these. B136, 2 and 3. B136, 2 and 3. So ground, 1, 2. We're open. B136, 2. Did I say 2 and 3 or? Yes, 2 and 3. Okay. I thought they were diodes. This is 1, 2, and 3. Nothing. And in reverse, so we're gonna have diode in reverse, right? Yeah, 0.4 and 0.4. It's a little low. It's a tiny bit low. We're gonna check the thermal image, because if and we're gonna check the reference voltage, because dropping reference voltage could also explain this, but it would be very unusual problem. Okay, the heater, B136-4. B136-4 over here. And we got 0.922. Again, a little bit lower. It's usually closer to 99. Not like super abnormal, right? It's not like we're reading short, but a little bit. So everything so far seems a little bit lower than expected. Coolant temperature sensor, 34 on B134. I hate doing this one because it's right here. 0.495. 95. So again, this should be closer to 0.55. It's a little bit lower. Everything's a little bit lower here. But again, that doesn't mean that it's faulty. You know, not every ECM is going to measure exactly the same. I've seen some some ECMs, exact same ones, deviating by, well, not a lot, but deviating by significant voltage drops, and both running perfectly fine. So, you know, sometimes it is like that. Let's see, front oxygen AF sensor. Put the B135, 8 and 9. 135, 8 and 9. B135, 8 and 9. So this guy, and we got 0.99. So this is good. This is not. So that's what we should be reading on the other one. Closer to 95, 99, right? And we were reading 91. So that's 1, and that's 2, and this one is open. This is 1.1. So this is good. And let's just check the intake air temperature. So that's 135, 18. 18. This one here. 0.49, almost 0.5. It should be closer to 0.55. But since it's consistent, across other measurements that they're all kind of a little low, that should be normal. It's just how this ECM is. So let's hook it up. 12 volts, 2 amps. That'll do it for now. Alright, so let's hook it up. Let's see. So R positive goes to B135-2. Ignition switch B135-19. It's this guy. Then our ground goes to B136-6. And our high and low will go to 35-27. B136, 27, and 35. So it goes here, and high goes here. Let's grab the thermal camera, see what we can see. So if we see any heat spots or anything like that, that's gonna point us into some direction. But if there's abnormality, we should see it. 12 volts, 2 amps, everything's connected. We got manual started. 2.6 watts, looking good. MCU is on, CAN high and low is on. Output stages are on. No thermal abnormalities. Our throttle control chip is cold, as expected, because it doesn't really have anything to do without the load. So let's turn it off. Let's switch to 12 volts, 12.18 at 5 amps, and 3, and let's see what we can read. Okay, let's scan OBD. And autoscan should find it pretty quickly. There you go. Okay, now let's see permanent codes. We have okay, I don't think this is the ECM issue. These codes perfectly explain your problem. These are permanent codes. These are stored codes. So these don't get cleared when you just disconnect the ECM. So we got evap problem, right? P0 457. Typically that's a loose cap. And then we have fuel temperature sensor circuit high, P0 183. I just checked the actual circuit on the ECM. I don't see any problems on the ECM. So it's got to be the circuitry. If it's high, that means the temperature sensor is disconnected, because the voltage should drop. Let's see, on the fuel temperature sensor, you can check that. Let me direct you. So the voltage should be roughly between 2 and 3 volts, right? And we're showing high, which means it's gonna have a, I'm actually not sure, either 5 volts or 12 volts. I'm not sure if it's powered through 5 volts or 12 volts, but it's high, meaning we can't read temperature sensor, and that's gonna screw up with everything, especially when we go to a closed loop. Then we have P0102, mass airflow circuit low, so that's the opposite. Also, sensor is not present. And we have P0113, intake air temperature sensor, circuit high. Same thing. The sensor is disconnected. That perfectly explains all your problems here. Everything that you described is perfectly explained by those codes. So listen, I'm gonna clone it because I already have the replacement, right? You're gonna have a spare, essentially. And if I'm right about this, because there's always a possibility that I'm wrong, right? It's actually always a very high likelihood. But you're gonna replace the ECM, and you're gonna see the exact same problems. That confirms that I'm right, right? And then just follow these codes. The evap, I wouldn't worry about that. I mean, you'll solve that as the, because that's not going to cause the limp mode. But fuel temperature, sensor A circuit, right? MAF circuit low, and intake, sensor 1 on intake is high, so it's not present. You can confirm that with any multimeter on the actual wires, right? Either on the ECM harness or at the sensor. But you're gonna see that most likely the sensor doesn't get power. So when you measure at the sensor, there's gonna be 0. Or you don't have ground. You're gonna see the 12 volts or 5 volts, whatever it takes, on one pin and against the chassis of the car, but not in reference to the other pin of the sensor. But yeah, that's gonna solve your problem. I mean, not that I did anything for you, because you probably could have saved yourself some time and money just checking those codes. But I'm happy to assist you with this. So we're gonna clone it. We're gonna ship it back to the customer, and we're gonna hear back. Let me know if I was right about this, because there's always a possibility, since we're reading a little bit low, right? A little bit, the measurements are a little bit low. There's a chance I'm wrong about this, and you replace the ECM, and the problems go away. In either case, it's a win-win, right? But if you replace the ECM, and as I expect, the problem remains, you have yourself a spare ECM, and you have to do some digging under the hood. And this is actually, as I said, very common after engine swap. Those cables, they just really don't like being touched. But that's it. Simple fix. I mean, we'll see how simple is it going to be on your side. But on my side, I'm just going to clone it. And this is non-VVT. The VVT chips are not populated, so we don't have to clear anything. So, there's, at least you don't have to worry about that, because VVT problems could also explain things like that. But usually you would get the timing codes. We don't have any timing codes, so, and you say the engine runs beautifully, so yeah, and it runs when it's cold, so yeah, it's definitely, it all makes sense. Alrighty, hope you guys found this useful. Thank you very much for watching. Michael, thank you very much for your business, and I shall see you guys in the next one.